software testing. So today we will be focusing on the static testing, where we do not involve in any execution of the code, right? So then, as the content, we will be discussing about static testing, and we will go through with two different static techniques, testing techniques. So they are review and static analysis, right? So when it comes to static techniques, it is some sort of software testing method which we do not execute the code of the software application, but by reading or by scanning the code, we will simply try to find the defects, right? So for example, you have developed a software design. Let's assume you have developed an ER diagram for your project. So, and then once you have completed your ER diagram, you are giving to that particular ER to your supervisor. So the supervisor will look at it and he will simply tell these are the errors. So this is since you are not doing any sort of execution, so it's fallen under the static techniques. And in some cases, so you are writing your code. So you are importing different libraries and you are calling different functions, you're creating different functions, etc. So let's assume you have write the let's take Python language. So there we have print command. So let's assume mistakenly you have misspelled the print command or the print keyword. So in that case, the IDE will underline your error, but the software code is not executed. So that is also belongs to the static testing techniques. So as the first static techniques, we will look at to the reviews, right? So the main purpose of the review is to find the possible defects in the design of the software, right? In the most of the cases, review are focusing on the design related documents of a software, right? So likewise, I have told you about the finding errors of your ER diagram fallen under the reviews. So it's because it's a ER is a design of the software type of a design, right? So then you can apart from the design documents, you can have the software requirement specification document also, right? And basically the people who are doing the review will go through from start to end of the document and try to figure out possible errors, duplications, or the double meanings, unclear cases, etc. So reviews usually we can have either formal or informal. And so when it comes to the types of review, so we have two different reviews mainly. So the informal and formal review. So when it comes to the objective of the informal review, so we basically try to identify errors and possible issues. And also we try to examine the possible alternatives for these errors or issues. And it's a sort of learning process because set of people will find the errors and then people will together and discuss about possible alternatives. So it's some sort of learning. And when it comes to formal review objective, so in the formal reviews, whatever given panel will evaluate the given document for the integrity. Basically, the integrity is ensured by checking whether the given requirement are the created design or the documents are aligned. The evaluate confirms to the specification and plan is that, right? So by checking whether the given the user specification and the developed designs or the documents are tallying, so in that, by that we can ensure the integrity. So when it comes to the informal review, usually it's 2 to 7 people in a group size. But in the formal review, it can be either 3 or more. The main difference of informal and formal review is nothing but the informal review. In the informal review, the process is not strictly followed. So if you want, you can collect the data, or if you want, you can collect the outputs and different artifacts or the deliverables. But when it comes to the formal review, since it is a formal and strictly following the standard, so it's essential to maintain the meeting minutes as the data, and the different reports, for example, review reports are maintained as the outputs. And when it comes to the activities of formal review, so you might familiar with this set of slides, right? So we have the planning, kickoff, individual preparation, review, rework, and follow-up. So we will go through one by one, right? So the starting point is planning. So as the word planning, we simply plan the entire review process. So in there, we will define what are the criteria, so the conditions of the review, and we will select who is going to be the review panel, and whose code is, or whose documents are going to be reviewed. So likewise, the team members will be selected, and also for selected team members, the role allocation will be done. So we will learn what are the possible roles also, right? And then we will define the entry and exit criteria in order to make a more formal or official review types like inception. So the entry and exit criteria is something. So entry criteria is something similar to when to start the review. So for example, if the SRS is 95% covered by the design document, so we can take as the entry criteria. And let's assume, so as the exit criteria, so the all design documents should be reviewed and modified according to the review comment. So that would be a possible exit criteria. review එක නතර කරන්න ඕන point එක තමයි exit criteria කියලා කියන්නේ. entry criteria කියලා කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් review එක start කරන point එක. Right? So and then we in the planning section we will select what parts are going to be reviewed and what are the documents, etc. And then so now we have team members and different roles and review criteria, entry exit criteria, and what are the documents that we are going to examine or the review. So then we will check whether the entry criteria is satisfied, and if the entry criteria is satisfied, so we can enter the next steps. So in the kickoff or the second phase of the reviews, so you will be basically what what people are doing in the kickoff step is distributing the document. So in the planning section, we have selected what are the documents to be reviewed. So what are the parts? So based on that, the people will distribute the documents, and then. With the distribution of the documents for the team members, whatever the person who is going to be the leader of the review or the head of the review will explain what are the objectives, what are the possible processes, documents documents that we are going to review, etc. They will explain, right? And the third step will be the individual preparation. So in this case, the people who get the documents to review, so these people are some sort of either reviewers or some sort of judge panel, right? So these people have to prepare for the review meeting by reviewing the given documents. And when in the individual preparation, when a person is reviewing the document, so these people have to note down the possible defects, unclear areas, and in some cases comments, etc. They have to note down, and these comments, questions will be discussed in the review meeting. So once the individual preparation is completed, so the review meeting will be there. So in the review meeting, what people are doing is people basically discuss these potential defects, questions, comments, etc. And if the meeting is more formal, so in this case, the errors or the comments will be noted down for the meeting minutes, right? And then in the review meeting, people will so when they are usually in the review panel, there would be technical experts also. In that case, when there is when the reviewers is saying that there is a defect and this is unclear part, so the people will discuss about those defects and try to find possible or the optimum solution for each and every case, right? And then we have the reviewer. So let's assume we three are in the review meeting. So I have, let's assume I was the reviewer and you guys are the people who develop the review documents, right? So then in the review meeting, I will say, so Tihara, these in your document, these are the possible unclear sections. So make correct. And then again, I might say, so then Nidma, so these are the unclear section of your documents. Please make it clear. So when the reviewer gave that sort of comments, so the rework will be big. So the people who develop the documents or the responsible for that particular part of a document will have to fix the defects. And then if the meeting is so formal way, following this formal way, so the authors or the people who developed or the people who wrote that particular documents, they have to update the status also. So once the rework is done, the follow-up part will be there. And in the follow-up part, again the entire the team will be review team will be get together and discuss or the check whether the defects have been addressed. And also then in some cases people will gather the metrics, and also the team will check whether we can stop the review process by evaluating the exit criteria, right? So these are the review activities. So when it comes to the formal review, so we have different set of roles and responsibilities. So we will discuss. So the first or the highest person in the review is the manager. So he is the person who is deciding of the on the review execution, time allocation from the project, etc. And also he is responsible to determine whether the review objectives are met. And the moderator is the some sort of like the main actor of the entire review process. He is the person who is doing or the who is like doing the or the leading the entire review process, right? So basically the moderator is the person who leads the review process. And so the moderator will involve in the planning the review, run the review meetings, following up after the meeting, etc. Right? So and also moderator acts as a mediate between the various point of view. Right? So if the moderator is a strong and friendly person, it means the review process will be success, right? Because that person is having the responsible of leading the entire review process. And then we have the author. So the author is the person or the team who had developed the documents. So the document can be either design document, UI diagrams, or in some cases it can be a software requirement document, or in some cases it can be even a code. And the reviewers will be the people who try to review the documents and try to find the possible defects. So usually reviewers are people who is having technical expertise in the group or in the company, right? So usually in most of the cases, so in your cases, supervisors will be the reviewers in most of the cases, right? And when it goes to the industry, so the tech leads, architects, so these people will be the reviewers, right? So they should not be biased for the author, and they have to be fair to everyone. And then we have a scribe, or we can call them as recorder. So the documentation part, documenting all the issues, problems, unclear areas, and points that were discussed in the review meetings and other relevant meetings. They have to document all those things. So that part will be done by the recorder. So then we have different types of reviews. So these are the first thing is informal review. So so usually it's not following any formal process. So usually in the industry or in most of the cases, it will be pair programming or the technical lead reviewing. So the pair programming means So you have a partner. Usually it could be your best friend in the company or in the project, or even your batchmate, right? So in the pair programming, one will write the code and other will try to find the issues. The technical lead reviewing is something upper than that. So the pair programming is usually with the peers. But when it goes to the technical lead reviewing, so the technical leads are always in the upper level. So that is a different case. But it's usually taken as informal review. And if you want, results may be documented. So if you don't want, you don't need to document. Right? So the main purpose of informal review is you can get the same benefit of, the somewhat similar benefit of formal reviews without spending so much resources or the cost or the materials. So it's some sort of inexpensive way to get some sort of benefit. And when it comes to the walkthrough, so usually walkthrough meeting led by the author. Author is the person who has developed the document, right? So usually walkthrough example for the walkthrough will be scenarios, dry runs, peer group participation, etc. So these walkthroughs will be open-ended session. And if you want, you can have pre-meeting preparation for the reviewers. It means the individual preparation part of the formal process. And if you want, you can develop review reports. And if you want, you can have a different scribe or the recorder to record the document, the whatever points to document, right? So this walkthrough, based on these optional parts, the walkthrough can be varied from informal to very formal method, right? So the main purpose of the walkthroughs is learning, gaining understanding, and finding defects. So when it comes to the inception, a trained moderator will be the leader of the entire review process. So usually it would conduct as a peer examination, and since this is some sort of like formal way, so we have defined roles, and some cases we can gather different matrices, and usually we have so many rules and so many conditions, checklists, and then we have the entry and exit criteria, and we have this individual preparation of the pre-meeting preparation, and we have the inception report, and follow-up process is very formal, etc. So the main purpose will be the finding defects. So my advice is, so you have to go through this walkthrough and the inception. So that this section might appear in your let's say final paper. Okay. And when it comes to the success factors for the reviews, so we have so in order to make success in the review process, so we should have a clear predefined objective. So in that case, so when we have a clear milestone, clear and predefined milestone or the objective, so it's easy to track the progress, right? So the same reason that is the same reason why we are asking you to create project objectives. So when you have project objectives and it's clearly predefined, so you can see your progress with compared to the objectives. And the right people should be involved in the reviewing process. So for example, if the user interface design diagram is reviewing, so a database related person should not be the person who is doing the reviewing, that particular UI document. So the UI expert should be there, right? So the right people should be there when it comes to the review objectives, right? So in your projects, when you have some specific subject matters, for example, machine learning, and let's take, so we have the blockchains, right? So there should be a specific expert person to advise you. In some cases, supervisor can handle that part, but if the supervisor can't handle, they can refer other people. And so when in the review process, when there is a defect is found, so these defects should be warmly welcomed and it should be expressed objectively. So so when it comes to the review, so it's basically error finding mechanism. So in that case, some people don't like, they are afraid of defects. So they might feel, so those when my defects are very high in the review, so that might what we call be a problem for my performance or my progress of the company. So that fear should be eliminated, right? So yeah, that's all for the success factors for the reviews. And yeah, we have other different success factors also. You can just go through, right? And the second static techniques is the static analysis. So when it comes to the static analysis, so we are using some sort of special tools to identify some sort of special issues when we compare to the issues that founded in the review, right? So basically, static analysis involved in the evaluation of the code quality that was developed by the developers, right? Usually, static analysis focus on the finding defects in the software code or the software architectures. They are not focusing on the UI designs, ER diagrams, UMLs, or in some cases, let's say SRS, etc. But they are more focusing on the technical aspects of the source code or the architecture. And also, static analysis is helping the developer to improve the maintainability of the code. And usually, the static analysis is done by the tools, right? So if some sort of static technique is done by a tool, it's usually static analysis. But if the static techniques is done by the people, right? So it most probably it's fallen under the review type, right? So static analysis will more focus on the finding defects rather than the failures. So when you use a static analysis tool, so you can find different set of defects by using those tools, right? So so if you are developing using IDEs, for example, MATLAB, Google Colab, and we have Python, PyCharm, Java, whatever the related IDs, so they act as static analysis tools up to some extent. So these static analysis can find the issues with variables. For example, you have create a variable, but you did not assign a value, so undefined value. So that can find with static analysis too. So if you have done these mistakes when you are developing whatever code, especially using the IDEs, so you should remember those things. And in some cases, you have created variables, but you are not used in anywhere. And in some cases, you have nicely written your code, but there are some sections due to the your logical conditions errors, so that particular code section is not going to execute. So we usually in the technical term we call dead code or the unreachable code. We cannot reach that particular code. And and also there are so many defects related to the loops. For example, loop is going other way around, and we have infinite loops, etc. And in some cases, we have the programming standard violations. For example, if you are using Java language, so we have to use the camel case. So if you forget to use the camel case, so that would be that can be tracked by those static analysis tools. And if in some cases also, when you develop web related things, so usually CSTF related issues or the security vulnerabilities can be discovered by the static analysis tools. And these are the values of the static analysis. So we can identify or detect some defects that could be a future failure in prior to the test execution. Code එක ලියනකොට ඕගොල්ලන්ට errors ටික පේනවා. Right? Test execution එක වෙනකන් ඉන්නේ ඕනි නැහැ. يعني run කරනකන් ඔයා ඉන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ඔයාට automatically ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට static analysis part එකේදී detect කරනවා defects ටික. And also in some cases the static analysis tool can give some sort of warnings about improper ways of memory usage, etc. So usually if you have developed codes with the Android Studio, Python, what we call PyCharm or IntelliJ IDE, so you can see a particular error type called warning. So the warning can be tracked by these static analysis, and it's a sort of very it's having a very high value when you need to optimize or the optimize your performance of your code. And also static analysis can identify some sort of defects that is not easily founded by the dynamic testing. So for example, if we go to this programming standard violation, so we can't track from the dynamic testing. And so the variables that do not use, so we can't find in the dynamic testing. Right? So and also, since like this static analysis is identify software code related and software architecture related defects, so it can improve the maintainability of the code and the design. Yeah, that's all for this static analysis.